Well, good evening, good evening, good evening. Hello, everyone. Come on in, come on in. This is your show host, Maxine Pearl Phillips McCoy, coming to you and talking about life strategies. Yes, I know you don't see my background, but we're in the process of updating the background. And as you know, when you go through renovation, it takes just a moment to get everything situated. But in the meantime and in between time, we still have great platinum nuggets that we'd like to share with you this evening. Now, I am not only the show host, but I am going to be the guest this evening as well, because I want to talk to you about not just level less, but you removing all levels, because that's exactly what level less stands for. Level less is about people succeeding through your business strategies, your personal strategies, your professional strategies. But we must put a strategy in place in order to understand how we are going to execute. So, Level Less, you can find a lot of the information I'm talking here to you about this evening at my website, levellessco.com. And always reach out to me. Let me know that you're listening. Let me know where you're listening from. And not only that, bring a family, bring a friend, tell everybody about you picking up these platinum nuggets doing the show. All right, look at that. We have Miss Shabazz. I like that. Greetings from Raleigh, North Carolina. Mr. Glad to have you with me. Glad to have you with me. Now, listen, as I'm talking, be sure whatever I say, if it resonate with you, put it in the comment and then make a comment on how you are going to apply it. This evening, we are talking about ability assessments. Have you heard of an ability assessment? Elizabeth, thank you for joining in from Raleigh, North Carolina as well. And Elizabeth took one of our ability assessments. And so I'm hoping Elizabeth will be able to share some of the insight that she received by taking this ability assessment. So put in the comment box how many of you have had or ever taken an ability assessment? Not a personality, not the career, but an ability assessment. And that's where you evaluate the abilities that you were born with, the ones that you received when you were given the breath of life. Now, with Leveless, what we do here is not only do we help you to look at those abilities, but we help you to discover. Many of you have not yet discovered that God given ability of yours. And we help you to identify the ones that are the strongest for you, as well as develop. So we have workshops that we have put in place that if there is an area that you need that you're challenged with, we have a workshop that we can provide for you that will help you to overcome the areas that you're being challenged with. Now let's talk about an ability, an innate ability, your God-given ability, the one that you were born with. Let's talk about those for a moment. How about personality? And when I say personality, I'm talking about introvert, extrovert. Now, when I talk about introvert, extrovert, who can tell me what an introvert? I mean, a lot of people have definitions for them. The dictionary has a definition for an introvert. But with the ability assessment that I'm talking about, it has its own definition. So, who can tell me, give me your definition of an introvert? Type it in. Let me know where you, so I can see and read it. Into the comment box, let me know. But what I will tell you about an introvert is that they are not necessarily quiet, but they get their energy by alone time. They need to have some downtime. So if you are an introvert and you're working in an extrovert environment and you got people talking all day long and you're forced to talk, you're forced to engage in a conversation, and you are just literally worn out by the time you get home or by the time you get off from work. But with an introvert, it just means that you need to have some downtime, some alone time in order for you to re energize. And there are several ways that you can do that. You can on your lunchtime if you're at work, or if you're going to an actual location, but now time people are pretty much at home. You still can have time to just crawl away or steal away and then read a book, have a cup of tea, relax, breathe, and have a moment to yourself that helps you to become re-energized. Because working at home, you could be still in an extrovert environment if you have other people that's in that same environment with you. So you still need to have a little downtime. But what about our extrovert? Our extrovert is someone they like to talk. They like to engage in a conversation. They brainstorm. They make decisions. They solve problems by talking them out. This is what this ability assessment will help you to identify. Are you an introvert or are you an extrovert? And then we have something that's called, believe it or not, an ambivert. And you might like, oh my gracious, an introvert is a person who loves to be by themselves so they can woohoo. That's right. They need to get that energy back. That is so correct. The other thing is an ambivert. An ambivert, I know you probably said, I've never heard of that, Maxine, but it's a little bit of both. They flex, they can pivot, they can adapt to the environment. They can either be reserved or they can be an extrovert where they can be the social butterfly when need to be. And that's okay because guess what? That's who you are. And that's how you were born. And you don't have to change it. Just embrace it. But the ability assessment will help you to identify that, discover that, or even confirm. So just think about it. You're either going to discover, identify it, or you're going to confirm. So I always encourage individuals to think about you really want to hone in on your God given abilities and use that as a competitive advantage for you in life, for you in this world, for you as a profession or as a career path. Use that because guess what? There's no one like you. The other thing the assessment helps us to understand is how do you make decisions? Are you a long term thinker or are you a short term thinker? Are you the kind of person who wants to see the gratification happens immediately? Do you know this already about yourself? If not, you definitely want to know that because depending on the work environment or depending on the profession that you're in, you will have havoc if you are the type of person who are a 6 month thinker, which means you need to have some results and you need to see some results immediately. And if you don't see those results, you're trying to figure out what in the world am I doing wrong? Or I'm through with this. I'm not going to have anything else to do with it because it's taken entirely too long for me to complete this project. But what if you already knew that about yourself before you accepted that assignment? Then you don't have to have that, all that anxiety that causes individuals to build up in them inside of themselves. And then they're trying to figure out, how am I going to get this done? And many times it could be a little challenging to get it completed. But what if you were a thinker that thinks like 6 months to 1 year, or 1 year to 5 years, and you have a project that needs to be done within 3 months, but in your mind, you're thinking, I have all the time in the world. Because remember, you're naturally thinking 1 to 5 year thinker. So you're a futuristic thinker. You're thinking already a little bit in the future, but you're working on an assignment that you need to have completed within 3 months. What do you think happens? Go ahead, tell me. That's right. Procrastination sets in because you think you have all the time in the world to complete the project. And before you know it, time is running out. But again, wouldn't it be awesome that you knew that about yourself going into that particular project or accepting that employment offer? These are the type of things that we help you to understand when you take this ability assessment. Now, the other thing about this assessment is your driving abilities. That's right, the driving abilities. These driving abilities are the ones in which are definitely the ones going to drive you toward that career path. It's going to encourage you to go for that profession. It's going to also be the ones that you're going to choose when you decide that you want to become an entrepreneur. So that's why it's critical that you understand who you are from your core. And these driving abilities help you to understand that. Now, there are 5 driving abilities that we look at when we're looking at this ability assessment. And one of them is called classification. Now, this classification is something that many times our executives use, or those who don't give me all the details. You don't want all the details. You want the high level overview. That's right. But if someone is trying to give you all the details, it's like, this is driving me bonkers. Just give me the 2 or 3 things that's major about this project. So it's important that you understand that you're a big picture thinker. Now, our concept organization individuals, they are they are the ones that are detailed. They want every step. They want it detailed, laid out, identified. I mean, you're talking about detail, 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 and they do not get enough of the details. They want to know the sequential order of what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, the way it's going to happen, where it's going to happen. So imagine you're in an office and you have a manager. Your manager is a big picture thinker, and you are working with them. Okay, he says procrastinate. That's right. Greetings from Burrell Worldwide, Beverly Hills. Hello, Cherie. Nice to have you. Thank you for joining in. So, is this resonating with anyone? Can you see the importance of understanding who you are from your core, those God given abilities? I mean, depending on where I am, I say innate abilities, I'll say natural abilities, but it all means the same. Those are the ones that you were born with that nobody had to teach them to you. They come natural for you. And so I'm talking about a manager and an employee. And I never will forget, I worked for this one manager, and her name was Penny Wilson. Penny is a phenomenal manager. I mean, I followed her from one company to another company. I loved working for her. And I remember working for her in the first company, and she gave me her profile. She had taken an assessment and she shared her profile with me. Well, once I read that profile, what it did for me, it helped me to understand how she liked to be communicated. It's just like emails versus voicemails versus a meeting. I mean, it helped me to understand the details about her and her leadership style. Where it would have taken me about 6 months to learn all of this, it took me 2 weeks because I kept reading and rereading and rereading her profile until I understood everything that the way she liked it. Now, this assessment that I'm talking about, this ability assessment, does the same thing. As a leader, you want to take the leadership assessment so that you know how you are going to be interacting with your team members. And you also need to understand each individual team member on your team. No two are alike. You cannot, lead those two alike as well. What you say to Maxine, you might have to say something totally different to Tom because of the way we communicate and the way we like to be communicated. So that's why I love this assessment, because not only is it for individuals in personal, professional, or leaders. And I love it. And every time I use it with a team, I mean, you're talking about high performing. You're talking about cohesiveness. You're talking about understanding each other and almost can know exactly how a person is thinking and the next step in a project. That's what happens when each team member understand each other. So if you're working on a team, think about it as far as taking the assessment and sharing it, with your team members. Leaders, think about taking the assessment and sharing it with your team members. I guarantee you're going to see totally different way of communicating with one another. So I was talking about the driving abilities. I talked about classification, I talked about concept, organization, and organization, exactly what it is. How organized are you? How do you do things in sequential order? Do you have a system that you have in place, a processes that you use? It helps you to understand that about yourself. And then there's a portion called spatial relations and spatial visualization. And all that is talking about, are you a two-dimensional, three-dimensional thinker? Do you have that mathematical brain? Are you scientific? And then can you manipulate things in the air, in your mind, and know exactly the outcome? That helps you to understand what the technical side of who you are. Or would you prefer talking in technical terms? Or do you prefer communicating in what? Words or interpersonal interaction with your team members or with the individuals that you're talking to? This assessment helps you to understand that. And we've already talked about time frame. The last thing I want to talk about when it comes to driving abilities is going to be idea productivity. Write that down. Idea productivity. What that is, are you the kind of person that you cannot turn your brain off because you have so many ideas that's coming through? Or are you the kind of person that, now listen, it's going to take me a month or two before I can think of anything that I think I want to add to this project? And it's okay, whichever one you are. Because a high ideal productivity person, they are constantly thinking of new ways of doing things. And you start something today, but it's going to change tomorrow. And wouldn't it be awesome to know that about yourself? Especially if you are a leader and you're leading a team and you've given a team an idea that you want them to implement, but in 2 weeks' time, you've changed your mind. You don't want your team members to start thinking, oh, it's the flavor of the month, so we're not going to do it. You always want that respect. You always want that open line of communication. And you always want your team members to be able to understand what it is that you want so that they can produce and reach the goals. Then we have what is called our specialized abilities. Oh my goodness. With these specialized abilities, this is where it hones in on what you're going to specialize in. The profession, the career. If you're going to be an entrepreneur, what line of work are we talking about? If it's a trade, idea productivity, that's right. And if it's a trade, what kind of trade are you going to go into? Is it going to be mechanics? Is it going to be engineering? Is it going to be some type of science? Is it going to be a researcher? You have all these options out here that you can look at. But what if you don't know it about yourself? And you're going to say, I think I'll go with this profession. I think I'll go with this degree. Everybody else is going and taking that degree, so I'll get that degree as well. Not knowing how you're going to use it, not knowing if this is your innate ability already, not understanding if you're going to be challenged with it. Doesn't mean you can't complete it. It might take you just a tad bit longer to complete it, but you can complete it. When you have that determination and believe in yourself, you can complete it. Those specialized abilities is where you find your accountants, your doctors, your lawyers. You find what? Plumbers, heating and air conditioning. This is where it hones in on what profession you're going to actually navigate down that journey and perfect it and continue to work at it, and then go for the degrees, go for the education, go for the certification, go for the experience, go for the internships. So there's lots of things that you need to know when you're getting ready to go into that profession. Now, you probably say, Maxine, this is a lot of information. And it is. But what's important about this is that once you take this assessment, you don't have to take this assessment again. This is not one of those assessments that's going to change because you get older, or it's going to change because you acquire more experience, or it's going to change depending on the environment in which you're working in. As a matter of fact, this assessment would help you to determine the environment that's best, that complements your innate abilities. And that's what you want to know anyway. Let's face it, COVID has caused us to take a step back and evaluate, am I doing what I and is bringing me the fulfillment that is making me happy? Or am I striving? Or am I surviving? Or am I thriving? You want to be thriving as much as possible. Our objective is to ensure that you love what you're doing, that you find that sweet spot that you're passionate about. And you take that and you create that strategy around it so you can see yourself moving forward and you can see yourself being fulfilled and you can see yourself making an impact in your home, in your neighborhood, in your community, in the nation, and in the world. You see a lot of individuals on the TV, and they'll tell you, I started out doing one profession, but I found myself, that's not what I wanted. That's not what I liked. And I transitioned to another profession. And this is me. This is what I've been born to do. And you see that light bulb that goes on. You see that smile that comes across a person's face. So when you know your personality, and you know if you're introvert and extrovert, and you know your driving abilities, so you're driving toward that profession, that career that complements who you were born to be anyway, and what you were born to do. And then you're able to pull it all together and select, is it going to be a trade? Is it going to be a business? Or do you need to go for additional education? And if so, what type of education? And guess what? This assessment would help you to determine all of the above. When it comes to that educational piece, we have the ability for you to look at certain career categories, examine them, find out what it takes, what knowledge, skills, and abilities you need for this particular job, the type of education you need. And guess what? It even helps you to understand what salaries that this particular position will be paying, because it's looking at the salaries in the United States. And you can break it down to look at a salary within the state in which you're in. Now, how awesome is that? All of this you get in this assessment. I know it sounds like a lot, but it's not a whole lot when you think about, we look at the whole person. I want to do things that make me feel like it's a passion and not pressure. Yes, 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 yes. Exactly. He wants to thrive and not just survive. And that is so critical. And Elizabeth is talking about, she's thriving. She's truly moving forward. She has momentum. And I never will forget when Elizabeth had taken that assessment and she realized that she is in the profession that she loves to be in. But she also has a secondary innate ability. So isn't it awesome to be able to know this about yourself? See, Maxine, as a little girl, I've always been talking to people. People have always come to me and shared information with me. I would always ask these questions because I was so curious. Always been a curious person, still curious. So we sit down and talk. Trust me, I have a zillion questions to ask. But this assessment helps you to understand that, yes, you are curious. Yes, you are a problem solver. And you could be a problem solver that you do solve it right on the spot. You love crisis situations. Or wouldn't it be awesome to know that is not for me? I cannot be under fire and putting out fires all day long. There is no way. But yet and still you accepted a job that's what it requires you to do. But wouldn't it be awesome that if you knew that ahead of time? Now, see, this assessment, I'm talking to you from an adult perspective. But guess what? When I'm talking to the children or the kids or the students, and I give them feedback and the parent has not yet taken the assessment, it never fails. The parent will say, where were you when I was in high school? Where were you when I first started college? Where were you when I changed my major 3 times? That's exactly what this assessment does. I'm talking to you from an adult perspective tonight because there's so many adults have been laid off. I know there have been women on top of women on top of women who walked away from jobs. And now they're talking the economy is opening up. You've got businesses coming to our area and your area, wherever you're calling in from or watching. So my whole objective is for you to be ready, to capitalize on the opportunities once they present themselves. Many times we don't have time to get ready. So on Levelers Watch, we say stay ready. Stay ready because you're going to know your worth. You're going to know how to advocate for yourself, and you're going to succeed on your own terms. I know I'm using own and terms together, but you're going to succeed on your own terms because guess what? On Levelers Watch, you identify what success is for you. So once you take this assessment and you have that definition of success, and we put a strategy in place and you start executing, it's not about climbing the corporate ladder. It's not about trying to get to the next level. Because once you define what success is, all you need to do is execute and you are successful. You are moving forward. Climbing a ladder or taking a step, is that not moving forward? If we remove having to reach a level, but instead, because we believe in ourselves, and instead, because we have established a definition for success for me, the individual. So point to yourself, me. I'm going to define success for me. That way, you're not on anybody else's agenda. You're not trying to compete with anyone else. And you don't need to compete with yourself because you've already outlined the steps that you need to take in order to move forward. And you know who you are from your core. So you know your strengths. You know the things that you're already born with. You know, it talks about in Jeremiah 29:11, it says what? I know the plans I have for you to prosper. Write that word down, prosper. It didn't say lack. It tells us to be abundance. There's abundance out here. In order to understand how we can acquire some of the abundances out here, is to understand who we are and to understand the gifts, the talents, the abilities that we've already been given. You don't have to question it. You don't have to even ask anyone. This assessment, you get a report. Matter of fact, you receive 2 reports. The first report is who you are as the person. All those gifts, talents, and abilities that you were born with, you get a chance to understand it. And the other thing you get to understand is, how do you prefer to be communicated with? Your preferred way of communication. Wouldn't it be awesome that you're able to tell your team that? Wouldn't it be awesome that your children are able to share that with you? Or you understand that this is the way your child takes in new information and process it. So when you're helping them with their homework, is not being apart, but instead you're working it together because the communication is there. I can't tell you enough about this assessment. When I first started the business, I remember researching assessments, trying to determine which one that would help me to provide who a person was already created to be and do based on what they were born with. And once I came across this ability assessment, I flew to Atlanta from Raleigh, North Carolina, flew to Atlanta for a week to go through the certification and be licensed to deliver this feedback. Now, the feedback, once you take the assessment, you have to set aside at least 2 hours. That's right, 2 hours. Because we don't leave or send you a report and say you read it and you figure out what it is that this report is saying to you. Oh, no, 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 no. We don't do that. At Level S, we not only do a pre-questionnaire so that we can understand what you already know about yourself before you even take the assessment. So once we give you feedback after taking the assessment, we personalize it. We personalize it to help you to understand this is what the assessment profile says about you. And this is what you said about yourself on those questions about what you already do about yourself. And I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it never fails. The individuals that we're sitting down with having this conversation with feedback, they are always able to give us 2 or 3 more examples beyond what they wrote in that questionnaire. And when they walk away with that feeling that I cannot believe you pinged me. This is exactly who I am. You're right. I don't have to be and act like anybody else. I can be me. And I say to you, do you. Be authentic. Be original. Stay true to self. You don't have to do what everyone else is doing, whatever the in crowd is doing. That's not you. Don't do it. Do what you know that you do best so that you can have the life that you want to live. I would say do your best work and live your best life. Maxine always talk about there is a dash. This assessment has helped us to help individuals to understand that dash between your birth date and the date that you leave this earth. It's always a dash, but that dash is small. Think about it when it's written on a paper or a flyer or a homegoing celebration. The dash is small, but in life, that dash is infinite. That dash is levelless. That dash is you. So that's why it's so critical that you understand who you are from your core. That's why it's so critical that you leave the legacy that you've been put on this earth to leave, the imprint, the impact that you are to have. Understanding who you are from your core will allow this to take place. Not only that, imagine you understanding it as an adult and you're able to then transfer that same information to your children, your children's children, and then they take it and transfer it to their children and their children's children. I transform generations. Taking the assessment has given me a foundation platform to prosper. That's Elizabeth who taken the assessment. Abdul, I am going to define success for me. I found myself competing with others, and that hindered me from recognizing my gifts. Kudos, kudos, kudos. Yes, prosper, confirmation, and clarity to build her business. Elizabeth is now in business for herself. So you get that foundation, you get that confidence. Do your best work and live your best life. Yes, 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 yes. I love quoting that. Be authentic, be true to self so you can have the life you want. The life you want, the life you deserve. That dash is me. Please. Y'all need to listen. I hope you all are taking down and writing down these platinum nuggets because, bam, I'm not dropping the mic. I'm dropping platinum nuggets. It's about life strategies. It's about helping you to move forward so that you can be and do all the things that you were put on this earth to do. I absolutely love what I do. I love teaching this. I love giving feedback. And I love watching individuals' lives change. They absolutely transform. I even have a journal called Transformation, Write plus Share plus Live, because as you're going through your transformation in life, as you are going through your transformation in life, I encourage you to write about it. Writing can be, therapeutic. It can be releasing. It can be refreshing. There's so many things that can happen when you're writing about your transformation, and you can see it on the paper. Write a letter to yourself. If you don't like journaling, and journaling is a word that you do not like using, then say you're writing a letter to yourself, or you're writing a letter to the universe. But the important thing is to document that transformation. I have had clients to use that documentation and turn it into a book, turn it into a play. See, the sky is not the limit with levelless. Remember, there are no levels. So it's a levelless mindset is the movement that we have here. Remove those levels. Take all that precious stress away from yourself. Define what success is for you and start doing actions, implementing the actions that's going to get you there. That's what it's all about. I know I've gone on and on and on and on and on. Like I said, I love what I do and I love helping people get there. And the assessment, you can, get the assessment on levellessco.com/assessments. It's out there. We have the adult assessment and we have the leaders assessment. I come into organizations and we can do it by virtual when you have your team to do an assessment and give feedback. We have team development. We talk about creating high performing teams. It's nothing like a manager understanding each individual team member on their team so that they know how best to use the strengths and the abilities that they're bringing to the organization. That's beautiful. And that's where you have the high performing person, a high performing team, and you can't help but to have a high performing organization. So that's what this assessment does. It helps you to get there. And let's talk about you as the individual. Okay? So you might not be working right now, but you do need to know your strengths. You do need to know, how do you prefer being communicated with? That's something that you can always use in your lifetime. You can always use on a project. You can always use when you're on a Zoom call or in a meeting. I mean, I tell individuals when I meet them for the first time and I'm working with them, or they're going to be working with me, they're going to be doing some training with me. I tell them I'm a visual learner and I'm kinesthetic, which means I want to see it in a picture form. Love color. So you see the colors that I have on tonight, love color. And not only do I want to see it, but I want to interact with it. I need hands on. I need to touch. I need to feel it. So if you show me a step to do, I want to do that step myself right after you complete it and you've shown me. So wouldn't it be awesome that you know this about each team member? Or parents, wouldn't it be awesome that you know this about your child when you're working with them at home? So see, there's an assessment for students. There's one for an adult, and then there's one for leaders. And guess what? Believe it or not, there's an assessment for lawyers. And you might like, Maxine, for lawyers? Well, yes, because what if you're on the legal side, but you might not necessarily be in the right position on the legal side? What if you're on the defending side, but you're more of a person, your profile comes back and show that you're more of what? Estate planning or mediator? Or what if your assessment comes back and show that you're more technical and you've got this legal brain and the technical brain? And wouldn't it be awesome to know that what you need to do is work in an organization, a technical organization, maybe be their general counsel? I've had that to happen with one of my clients. So see, again, I say the sky is not the limit. We at Levelers believe in options and opportunities. We have a 3D degree is what we not degree, but 3D process, sorry, 3D process. And it talks about discover your innate abilities, design a strategy around them, and then develop. Not only develop yourself, because self-development is important. Always be a lifelong learner, but also develop the eye and the ear for recognizing opportunities, recognizing options in which you can then use your innate abilities. So, again, I say the sky is not the limit. Journaling is key to creating your journey. And when I talk about journaling, that's right, Elizabeth. It is so true. It is. And with journaling, it's about writing that information down. But oh, what I tell my clients, don't read it for at least 3 months once you write it. You can't go back and read it. You can't sit there and correct your grammar. You have to just let it flow. Let it flow, let it flow, let it flow. And once you go back and read it after 3 months, you're going to see a theme that's woven through what you have written. And it never fails. They end up finding answers to the prayers that they had asked for, finding answers to concerns or crisis situations, or just things that they had thought about that they needed an answer to. So it's already within you. The coaching component that I do, I help to extract all of that. The consulting side of me, that's where we put the strategy together. So I say you have the best of both worlds when you come to Levelers, because what? There are no levels. There are no levels. Isn't it nice to be able to tell yourself, I don't have to worry about trying to acquire a certain level. As long as I'm continuing to succeed on my own terms, I am successful. And happiness leads to success. It's not the other way around. It's not success leads to happiness. It's happiness leads you to success. And Levelers allows you to succeed continuously. I tell you what, I cannot get enough about talking about this assessment. I trust that you would go to the website, read about it, look at it, register for it. It's free writing in that same class. Free writing, I'm not sure exactly what that means. But, what I will tell you though, guess what? How about I give you an ebook on journaling. It tells you how to journal, the way to journal, when to journal, why to journal, and the benefits of journaling. Go to my website at levelisco.com and fill in your name and I think email address, and it will come to your inbox. My ebook will come to your inbox. I guarantee you're going to love it. It's short, sweet, to the point. But many times people think they have to journal every day or at the same time every night or in the morning or whatever. I'm saying no. Do you, be you. If you don't journal but once or twice a week, and that's what that means that you're going to do it because you're doing it once or twice a week, then do it. Because when you start writing, guess what? It's going to flow. It will flow. I'm a witness to that. It will flow. I've been journaling since the age of 11. And at that time, they called them diaries, where you had the little lock and key and hope that your parents or your friends didn't find it because you had your little secrets in there. I've been journaling since the age of 11, not realizing that even then I was given directions and strategy for what I do now. I was curious at that age, 8 and 11. And here I am still curious about learning. I leave myself open to learn, a lifelong learner. You never know it all. You never will know it all. And the other thing, don't be afraid to share it. Look at what I'm doing tonight. I'm sharing with you tips and techniques and platinum nuggets that you can implement immediately. That's what life is all about. How can you help and how can we help one another? It's not about what's in it for me. I can't take this knowledge with me once I'm no longer breathing on this earth. It's gone. But as long as I impart it, my legacy lives on. Remember that dash I was talking about? That dash is infinite. That dash is levelless. That dash never ends. That dash never ends. Even though it's just a little small dash, when you see that birth date and the date that you leave this earth, the dash is too small. It's okay for it to be small as far as a dash from a computer, but don't let it be small when it comes your life, contributions, impact, influence, mentoring, sponsoring, giving, sharing. All of that's a part of the dash. So I know that all of you are listening, that will listen, that I know that you have these God-given abilities, these innate abilities. Yes, there are no levels. Levellessco.com. That's it. Yes, go there and make sure that you get that ebook, that journaling, how to journal, the way to journal, making journal a part of your lifestyle change. Make it a part of your lifestyle change. Make it a part of, share with others what you know. You don't have to give the kitchen sink away. You don't have to give everything away. But you can't take it all with you once you're gone either. It's gone. Leave some of this knowledge. Share with our young people. Mentor them. Mentor an entrepreneur who's just getting started, who needs your help. You've traveled those roads. You know the bumps in the curves. Why have them to go through those same bumps when you can make life a lot easier for them? You know, it's Black History Month. I mean, to me, every day could be Black History Month because I am a Black business owner. I am a Black woman who loves being able to share and help other people move forward. And when I thought about it earlier today, I thought about my mother and my father. When it comes to Black history, you're talking about, mentors, and you're talking about role models. I thought about my father, and to just honor him for a moment. He went to the third grade and he had to quit because he had to help his family on the farm. But my father had God-given abilities. My father's profession was a coal miner for 37 years, but he was a mechanic. He was a carpenter. He was a electrician. But those other three professions were his God-given abilities. And no, he couldn't read. He could barely do some writing, but he was a visual learner. So all the books that he had pictures, and he taught himself how to do all of those professions through a picture. And my mother, she was a stay-at-home mom, went to the 11th grade. She did not graduate either. My mother wrote poetry. She wrote songs. She wrote scriptures, and she wrote short stories. She sent them off, and they gave her honorable mention or first place. So see, your God-given abilities are already inside of you. Do you know what they are? Have you discovered them? Have you identified them? Or do you need them confirmed? That's what the ability assessment will help us help you do. By taking it, it's good. You get those, it's online. You take it all online and you get the feedback. And we can do feedback through Zoom or through any other mechanism. But the most important thing is for you to start ensuring that you're using your God-given abilities, that you are doing what brings you fulfillment, that you are making a difference. You're transforming generations and you're helping to leave your legacy. That's what Levelist does. And Levelist is a division of the company called GAMS Unlimited. And within GAMS Unlimited, there is the mother, father, the two children, and the first grandson. So even within it, that name is about transforming generations. And I'm all about leaving a legacy. I am trusting that I have been able to leave a legacy with you tonight, that you have grasped some of these platinum nuggets that have been written down. The Bible is God's journal to us. Yes, 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 yes. See, that was one question I didn't ask, and I usually say, what is the first journal that was ever written? And it is the Bible. That is so, so true. Thank you, Abdul. Elizabeth, live life with open hands. Love it. Give it away, because closed hands receive nothing but inability to leave a legacy. Oh, Elizabeth, that is profound. That is profound. I am going to put that on a quote tomorrow. And I will give you credit for having said it, but I am going to use that. I think that is definitely profound, because open hands will receive, closed hands. You can't receive anything if your hands are closed. And I'm going to take that a step further, because it's the same thing with the mind. Keep an open mind. See, that levelist mindset is for a reason. Because when you change your mindset about the things that you're thinking about, wanting to do, will do, can't do, the way you're going to do them, if you go on and think about that levelist, that I can do all things, you know how to end it, through Christ who strengthens me. But what I want to ask you this evening, see, Maxine's signature is to leave homework. So your homework right now, and write down, you don't have to put it in the chat if you don't want to, but I want you to write down what it is that you see yourself going. Where do you see yourself going? Because you have to envision it. You have to dream it. You must be able to see it in order to know, see the end result before you get there. I know Stephen Covey said, with the end in mind, start at the beginning. So what's that end result for you? And then I want you to write down one or two things that you know about yourself that can help you to complete or to get to that end result. What do you already know? What do you already have in your possession? Who do you already know? Networking is very important, and building relationships. And then the next thing I want you to do is I want you to tell me, do you believe in yourself? Do you believe in you? Because no matter if you see where you're going and you know how to get there, but until you believe that you can do it, you're still just seeing it and knowing it. But once you believe, oh my goodness, I tell you, that's when it takes off. Because after you believe it, that's when you can plan strategy, put steps in place, the things that you're going to do in order to what? Achieve what you saw, where you know you're going. And then after you plan, you have to execute. Thank you. Oh, my pleasure for sharing. Thank you for these platinum nuggets. Excellent, excellent. And so then, not only that, you plan it, and after you plan it, then you have to what? Take action. You have to implement. You have to execute. And after you execute, then be documenting along the way. So don't wait till the end to document. Document along the way. Remember, journal. And then you have to live life. Live your best life and do your best work while you're here. You have a purpose for being here. So I ask you, what is that purpose? And who are you from your core? What do you know about you? Because that's what's important, what you know about you. Other people can see things about you, but what do you know about you to be true? Because everything everybody else says is not always true. But when you know yourself from your core, then you know without a shadow of a doubt that it's things that you were born with. And these are your abilities, these are your gifts, and these are your talents. And it's a matter of just moving forward and doing it. I have truly enjoyed this evening. I trust that you would take these nuggets. Not only did you write them down, but that you would implement them. Believing in yourself is the first step in forward momentum. I'm going to say hallelujah to that, Elizabeth. I see myself saving others through my journal and working on strengthening my belief in myself. You know, Adul, what I want you to do is I want you to write those affirmations. I see the vision of my future as levelless. That's right. I want you to write those affirmations down and I want you to put them on your mirror, on your refrigerator, on a door. So every time you start doubting yourself or start thinking something other than positive thoughts, I want you to look at those affirmations and say, I am somebody. I have done this. I am levelless. Be levelless. Remove those levels. Have that levelless mindset. Let no one tell you what you cannot do or be or become. You be you, you do you. But the most important thing is to understand who you are from your core so you can be a better you and do you. Are there any questions? I have truly enjoyed this evening. I mean, I feel like I have one of my students sitting in front of me, just talking to them and just seeing a light go on and the cheese and the cheeks and the smiles on their faces. It brings me such joy when I give feedback from this assessment and individuals to talk about, you just don't know how you have helped me to clarify all the confusion that I had about what it is that I want to do, when to do, and how to do it, and the career path that I have selected. And yes, I've had one young lady to select a career path, and as a junior in college, and she finished that undergrad degree, went for her master's because she identified the area, and she's seeking her PhD in the same area. It's like it's beautiful when you see all of that happen. And how about a student when you're talking to your students and you have a student who say, I didn't know what I wanted to do and how I was going to move forward. But then I come to you and within 15 minutes, I'm relaxed. I can talk about it. I understand it. The paper, the booklet that you gave me helped me to understand that I can do these things. I can become a doctor. I have the ability to become the doctor that I saw myself becoming. There is nothing that's going to hold me back now. And to see that he went from a junior in high school, not thinking he was going to even graduate, to not only graduating, but also becoming a CNA at the same time, and then going on to college, and doing the things that's necessary to become a doctor. See, those are the kind of things that happens when individuals understand who they are from the core. Nobody can stop them. They're unstoppable. They're unstoppable because you believe in yourself. You believe in yourself. No matter what I say to you, no matter how much praise I give you, no matter what the feedback is that I'm sharing with you and how positive it is, but until you believe it, that this is you and these are your capabilities and this is what you were born with, that you have to embrace them and start doing them and start living them. And that's where passion and purpose cross. And happiness does lead to success. So go forth, be levelless, register for the assessment at levellessco.com/assessments. You can read about the leadership assessment and you can read about the adult assessment. And we will soon have the student assessment information up so that the parent can then read about their students. It's time for our students to start taking this assessment at the age of 14. If you're in your ebook, do you teach how to transform from one business to the business of your passion? I do not in that ebook. That ebook is about journaling, but I do have a workshop that's called You Are the Startup. And that workshop does teach you how to transform from one business to another business. And not only that, let's do a one-on-one consultation. So go out there on my website and register for a 20-minute complimentary consultation, and let's talk about it so that I can understand more about when you say transfer from one business to another business of your passion. Because remember, that assessment is going to help us to define what is that passion, what is your purpose, and what are you already gifted at doing. And so let's see if the business that you're already in, it maybe is just a segment of that business that you could be doing, maybe not the entire business. So let's not count out what you're already doing, but let's just reevaluate. And that way we can see, are there portions of it that we can use? How about that? So Abdul, reach out to me at Maxine@gamsunlimited.com. So if you go to my website and you'll see a contact page in there, send me an email, and then let's set you up for that 20-minute complimentary talk, and then let's get it working. Let's get it working. We can work on it. Well, this does it for this evening. I have truly enjoyed my listen. All of you out there that's listening and the future listeners, just going to reach out to me, Elizabeth and Abdul. Thank you so much for being here. That you are the two that let me know that you're here. Let me see, make sure I'm not missing anybody else. I just want to make sure I'm not overlooking anyone. Oh, I see. Oh, wow. I had a couple people. GHOJI. Thank you for being here. And GHAFOR. I just don't want to mispronounce your name. Sherry, and right, Cherie or Sherry Burrow. Thank you for being here. And then, yes, listen, I had a great time. You all asked some phenomenal questions, made some excellent comments. You just made, listen, don't you see how I'm smiling? You made my day. This is Maxine Pearl Phillips McCoy, your host of Life Strategies. I believe in you, and I trust you believe in yourself. Meet me back here next week because I am going to have a family on from Chicago that's going to be talking about the new single that they are releasing on February the 14th. I'm excited, so come back and join me. See you then. Have a great week, everyone.